Hey y'all, I'm Angela Barrett, and this is Talking South Carolina. Now y'all take a load off and listen, because no matter if you just moved here, thinking about moving here, been here your whole life, or you just plain nosy, bless your heart, I'll have something for you. Like, who's living in High Cotton? Who's madder than a wet hen? Places to go if you got a hankering for fried chicken, and where you can go to get drunk as Cooter Brown. We'll talk pig pickings, cow tipping, tillions, hay rides, who's buttering whose biscuits, what's a case quarter, and lots of other stuff. So stay a while. Y'all, it's gotta be a hoot.
This episode of the Talking South Carolina podcast has been brought to you in part by HomeMattersSC.com, professional real estate services and marketing in the Midlands of South Carolina for people who want more. And by SimplyArlie.com, video editing, podcast production and consulting, graphic design, you name it. And now she's a realtor by day and a podcaster by night. Here's your host of the Talking South Carolina podcast, Angela Barrett.
Hey guys, thanks for joining me today on Talking South Carolina. I have Miss Patricia Goron. She is the owner and operator of Ghost Walk Charleston. Hey Patricia, thanks for being here.
How you doing? Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. You're from South Carolina, aren't you?
Oh, I'm from Charleston, South Carolina, born and raised.
Yeah, same here. So I recognize the dialect there. So tell me, Ghost Walk Charleston. Tell me what it is.
Well, the official name is the original Ghost Walk of Charleston.
Mm-hmm.
And we opened up in 1979. And I believe we were the very first ghost tour company, maybe in the United States. And we do ghost tours in the evening. And we also do history tours during the day, but mostly ghost tours at night. And we're all about all things spiritual, paranormal activity, because Charleston is a very haunted city, and we delve into that.
Right. So have you actually seen ghosts?
Well, not on tour. I haven't. People say they've seen things, but we definitely do have many unexplainable things happen.
Sure. So tell me where these tours take place. Like, where in Charleston do you go to?
We mainly stay inside of the French Quarter area, which is the old section of Charleston you can walk into. We were a walled city at one time. So we stay in that area, and it's about 3 blocks from the city market, where everybody that comes to Charleston, they have to see the city market. That's a really fun place to go to.
Right.
So we're only 3 blocks from there, and we venture out in that area.
Mm-hmm. So, give me some, I guess, unique events, I guess, that have taken place on some of your tours where people have had encounters of some sort on these tours.
Well, oh goodness, let me think. There's so many. Well, recently, there is a parking garage where a fella, he slid and fell off of the top of the garage, and it's a recent thing, in the last 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
And he had to halt the garage, and he messes with the lights, and he only messes with the area that he passed away.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a quarter of the garage. Well, we're standing there at the end of the tour, and the people on my tour, they go, let's see if he'll do something again, summon him. I said, okay. So I said, okay, parking garage ghost, give us a sign you're here. Well, I started hearing noise, and I'm like, y'all hear that? And they're like, no. I'm like, listen. And then I had a buzzing feeling on my backside, and it was my phone. My phone stays off the whole tour. It's not on. I turn it off, not the power, but it's off, iPhone where you have to have Face ID.
Right.
The doggone phone was on YouTube playing a song. I'm like, this has got to be a sign. I clicked the song playing, and it's called Hello by Q, and I'd never heard of that band, and it's a really good song. And I'm like, he is saying hello.
Oh,
and
my.
we couldn't believe it. And I said, well, hello to you. And the outside light on the garage,
Right.
and the lady about fell out. And I'm like, that has never happened. He's very active. So we end up going up on top of the garage after all of this. And as we were on the garage, the picture that I have of them, they were taking pictures.
Right.
Orbs started flying all around. And they caught it, but they haven't given me the picture yet, which I wish they would.
Yeah.
So we do have quite unique things that can happen, and I can't explain that.
Right. You have to get with the South Carolina paranormal investigators and have them come join y'all one time on one of your tours.
Yeah, I would enjoy them if they would do that.
Yeah. So as a tour, you've been a tour guide now for how long?
Legally for 34 years.
Right. And when you say legally, there is a licensing for tour guides, although I don't think the laws now require you to, but probably better to go with a licensed tour guide, right?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. You always had to have a license. So when people come to the city and they take a tour, they know that the person given their tour has credentials and it's been licensed and it's studied real hard and taken the test of the history of Charleston. However, not long ago, just a few years ago, there was a person that could not pass the test, and they said this is a freedom of speech, and it ended up going to the Supreme Court, and now you do not have to have a license, meaning anybody coming into the city can give a tour. They can stand on the corner and start a tour from a corner or from any place that isn't, brick and mortar, and come on a tour with me. And they just do not have a license, and the etiquette is not a thing anymore with tours because it's just something else. I can't get any more into it. Or
sure. You don't want to get in trouble, that's for sure. And I don't either, thank you.
Yeah.
But now, before you, I guess, open this business, I mean, you were working already downtown in Charleston, like with the Old Town Carriage Company, right?
Yeah. Actually, I didn't open the business. Ruth Miller, she opened the business.
Oh, okay.
And I wasn't old enough I was on my bicycle downtown playing, and they opened the Ghost Walk. Well, yeah, when I got old, I did the rickshaw. I was the first girl rickshaw driver in Charleston.
Now,
I always hung out with the
Tell
carriages.
everybody what a rickshaw is, because unless you're from that area. Yeah.
Yeah, a rickshaw is a bicycle taxi, and it's a 3-wheel bike with a carriage in the back. And you tote people around, and I hung out with the carriages to get rides, and I enjoyed so much talking with the tour guides because I learned so much.
Right.
And Hurricane Hugo hit in 1989, and it stopped everything. Well, when everything started reopening, the carriage company, they said, you have to come and drive the carriages for us. And I did, and I studied real hard, and I passed the test, and it was the most fun. That carriage, that is so much fun, and the horses are very well taken care of. And then I got older and realized I think I better, walk. So I inherited Ghost Walk.
Oh, nice.
Because the lady that owned it, it was Anna Blythe, and she bought it Anna Blythe owned it at that point. And she said, you are the very best tour guide Charleston has ever had. You have got to do the ghost tours. You're the best at it. I can't continue this. I'm getting older and I'm giving this to you. And it was a big blessing.
Yeah, well, there is a lot of interesting history down in Charleston, and there is, from what I'm told, a lot of paranormal activity in Charleston. So that has to be, when you can combine the two, that has to be a great, I won't say job, career, great business, because it is. It's one of those fun things. If you're from South Carolina, if you're from Charleston, you got to at least do that, the ghost and the carriage ride, the ghost walks and the carriage ride. Absolutely. So tell me.
It is a lot of fun.
Yeah. So tell me,
I'm excited to go first.
Yeah, absolutely. And y'all do tours 7 days a week?
No, we reserve Sundays for the Holy Ghost.
Yeah, that ghost. That's right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Day of rest.
So you, 6 days a week, you do ghost tours. You can go on your website. I think it's ghostwalk.net.
Yeah.
And sign up for a tour. Now, these tours, how many do you take at one time?
Well, we can legally, you can only take 20 people per tour.
Mm-hmm.
And usually we have anywhere from 12 and under that want to go. And on the weekends and, tourist season like June, July, and August, when it is busy, everyone has 20 people on the tour. But we do offer private tours. If you wanted to take a smaller group out,
mm-hmm.
you can do that and not go with the public.
Right. So, the history tours during the day. Tell me a little bit about that and where all you go. And
well, we do 2 of those a day in the morning, like 10 a.m. and 1 p.m. And I take you wherever you want to go on the tour.
Mm-hmm.
And I grew up here and I really know the history. And what I think is very interesting is what I tell the people. And they really have a good time. Usually, there are quite a few people that I know that still live in the area, and they'll see me coming, and my friend Nancy, she'll say, "Teresa, you want to come on? Y'all come on in and have some wine and cheese?" And I was like, "Well, sure." And we'll go and visit somebody, and then we'll continue the tour. But we start at Tommy Condon's, that's where the tour begins, and it's 1 block from the city market.
Mm-hmm.
And it's about 1.5 miles to 2 miles, just depending, and it takes a good 2 hours. And we end up going to the Battery,
mm-hmm.
where White Point Gardens, it's a beautiful place. And we weave in and out of the streets going south to get to the Battery.
Mm-hmm.
And when we get to the Battery, when we come back, we weave in and out. So we go down multiple streets, and it's just a fun time. And I try to keep us in the shade and away from noise in the big streets. And we do go through one secret passageway that no one knows about except for me. It's really a cool little thing. People don't want to leave that section.
And so you said the tours during the day, they're about 2 hours long. What about the ghost tours? How long were those? I forgot to ask.
Well, it's designed to last 1 hour, and you get about 6 to 8 stories. However, 99% of the time, everybody wants it to go a little bit longer because strange things happen.
Sure.
So it usually will go over anywhere from 10 minutes, sometimes 30, but we went up on the parking garage on that one.
Yeah. So,
I mean, it's coming.
Right. So would you say that was probably the strangest thing that you've ever had happen on one of these tours, or can you think of a...
Oh, no. Oh, no.
Give me
Definitely
some examples.
Not.
Yeah.
Well, I've given many tours, and Demi Lovato, she sings Heart Attack. They were here with Simon Cowell and Randy and what's the name of the show? I forgot. America's Got Talent.
Mm-hmm.
They were here, and Simon Cowell called wanting a private tour, and it ended up just being me, Demi Lovato, her bodyguard, her hairdresser, and her best friend. And
Simon
it
didn't
was
come?
a private tour. No, and we have the same birthday. I don't know why. It was the weather wasn't that great.
Right.
Either way, and it was a totally different tour than the public because we went inside of homes. But we did go to where everyone goes, which is at the Circular Congregational Church.
Mm-hmm.
And we get there, and I'm telling them everything about, the ghost and everything. And she just up and says, if anyone's here, give us a sign. Every last light went out over the whole entire graveyard.
Oh, stop.
And
Are you kidding?
No. And within 30 seconds, this huge black SUV, we could hear it coming. And it did a 360 in the parking lot. They threw us in this big SUV, and we took off. And her bodyguard, he said, I did not see how anyone could have done that. I mean, they had people on the parking garage watching us.
Sure.
She had bodyguards. And it was I was like, that has never happened. So.
Well, that was pretty cool.
We do have
the whole experience, I mean.
Yeah. And I had Andy Warhol's great nephew on the tour 2 years ago. And I showed a picture, and I said it was taken right here, and the light where it was taken started blinking on and off. And they started talking to it, asking it yes, no questions, saying blink once for yes, twice for no. And it did. And I don't understand that. I don't think it is an electrical issue.
Right.
Because last night on the tour, I had the people at the same spot, and I said, whenever I blew this picture up, the light started blinking on that particular tour. And when I blew the picture up and said that, the light was off and it turned on.
Huh.
And yeah, it's
That's
a pretty wild
interesting.
picture.
So how did you, other than getting, just kind of growing up, working, down there near the tour guides and things, how did you get interested in the ghost part?
I was forced to do it. I never wanted to do it. Anna says, you're the best tour guide. I know they would love your ghost tour. I'm like, I don't want to tell book stories. That's too hard. And I started telling them, and giving a ghost tour, telling book stories is extremely hard. You have to keep people's attention span, and it's very hard.
Right.
And I did a great job at it. And after doing it for so many years, people are saying, you've been out here your whole life. I think these ghosts kind of like you and they want to perform for you. Maybe that's it. I don't know. But so many things have happened that I don't have to tell book stories anymore. And I'm very happy because people can go get a book and read those.
Sure.
Or people offer tours, book tours, and you can read the book.
That's right.
You want something different and new. So that's what I did.
So tell me, and I'm going to mutilate this name, Miss Virginia, is it?
Garrity.
Garrity. Okay. Yeah, I would have mutilated that. And she wrote a book, and tell me about that book.
Well, I know she wrote Gullah Fauna.
Right.
And she has a Gullah dictionary. And she was my librarian in school. I would study hall. I'd stay with Miss Garrity the whole time. Everybody loved her. She was from Waldman Young's Island, Waldman. She lived here, and she spoke the Gullah language.
Mm-hmm. And that is very hard.
If you grow up here, it's not.
Probably.
Yeah, well, I don't know. But I'm fluent in Gullah. And, so there you go with that.
Yeah, so, and a lot of people don't know what Gullah is. So tell them about that.
Well, it's actually an accent. It's a language.
Right.
The African Americans, when they came here, it's just an accent. It is English.
Yes.
But OOMAN means woman, and it's phrases like up the window means open the window. Great good means oh Lord.
Right.
They're just it's an accent really, and there's Geechee as well, and it's pretty much the same thing.
Right.
As Gullah. It's just more slang, I would say.
So if anybody has ever had anyone read Burr Rabbit, Burr Bear in the way it was originally written, which would be Geechee, Gullah,
right.
And if you, it's very, and but it's fast talking. So like you and I are very Southern, so we're slow talkers. But when I have heard people who still speak Gullah or Geechee, it's a fast, very fast form, and you have to listen really hard, or at least I did.
Yeah, it's well, I wouldn't say it's too fast, but
well, maybe
it can be fast.
Yeah, right.
If you don't understand it, you'll think it's fast. I'll
yeah,
tell
maybe
you that.
Maybe that's it. I just wasn't understanding. But I had a teacher once who could speak it as well, and she was fluent, and she would always read us, the stories in that language, and you couldn't help but just be enthralled in it. But yes.
Yes.
All right, so tell everybody how to get in touch with you and
okay.
and to sign up for a tour.
Okay, you can go on the internet and type in ghostwalk.net or ghostwalk.ai. We're in that mode too.
Okay.
And you can click to call, or you can call us directly at 843-720-8687, and that spells tour.
Ah,
and
cool.
there are a lot of the older tour companies will have TOUR for their last four digits.
Oh, cool.
And the area code for Charleston is 843. So make sure you know that when you're booking tours. You don't want to book a tour that's from some other state. You make sure you get a local when you do your tour in Charleston. Get someone who's lived here.
And you have a Facebook page, and people can go on and kind of get an idea. It's Ghost Walk Charleston is the Facebook page.
Yeah.
And again, like you said, people should probably pay attention to who they're getting for their tours, make sure they're licensed, and at least, like yourself, grew up there. I mean, you're going to know a lot more than anybody else. So,
they should avoid what you need to avoid is, is when you do Google anything, the first things that pop up are sponsored ads, and those are the people who are trying to get ahead of the good guys.
Yeah, and the ones that have been doing it a while, right? The little
good guy. Right. So, because I don't partake in Google AdWords because it is a lot of money, and I don't want to up my price to compensate for that, and that's exactly what's going on.
Sure.
And also, if you see like TripAdvisor, if you do TripAdvisor, just go to the company itself and directly book from the company and not TripAdvisor.
Yes, I gotcha. Well, thanks for all that advice, and thanks for the stories. I'm going to have to come up there and take one of your tours and see if I can't talk to some guys.
We got one tonight at 8:30 if you want to go.
Well, it's a little far drive for me right now, but I'll call you when I am that way. It won't be long, I'm sure.
Yeah, definitely do. You'd have a good time. I promise you that.
Absolutely.
And hopefully something crazy happens.
That's right. Well, thank you so much, and I appreciate you being with us today.
All right. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Talking South Carolina podcast. And let's thank Patricia Goron for being our special guest. To find out more and book your Ghost Walk tours in Charleston, South Carolina, you can find them at ghostwalk.net or call them at 843-720-8687. They're also on social media at Ghost Walk Charleston. Why not check out our website at talkingsouthcarolina.com and follow us on social media. You can subscribe to the show on Spotify, YouTube Music, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, and on your favorite podcast apps. For information about being a sponsor on the show and on the website, contact us at area code 803-386-9885 or email us at angela@talkingsouthcarolina.com. This episode has been brought to you by the friendly folks at Giraffe Marketing. Find out more at giraffemarketingllc.com.
I'm gonna be the best version of me. Float like a butterfly, sting like a bee, roar like a lion, and I